from where you at. I came here for vengeance, watch your back. No need to defend, I'm on attack. Sorry they can't reply, but I guarantee they had a blast. Pop, 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 I be on the next only, yeah, I am fresh to death.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Long Haul Mentality. I am your host, as always, Nick Bagley, and today I got my homie Carlos Philbrick, but his real name, for people who know him, is Carl. What up, Carl?
Yeah, what up? Yeah,
So,
that's. I feel like
I didn't even know that was a nickname, to be honest. The only reason I fucking knew it is because you said it on the podcast the other day.
Well, this is what's happened because I even had clients messaging me saying, "Hey, Carl, now I know your real name." But yeah, like I said, like it was just from because obviously I'd had Instagram back in 2011 or whatever it was.
Yeah,
and my mum and my brother, my older brother, used to call me Carlos. It was like just like a fun kind of thing that I went with, and I'm from a construction background, and when I was on the building site, they used to call me little because I'm only 5'7". They used to call me little Carlos, so it was like, hey, little Carlos, and it kind of stuck. I was just around that time, and then I obviously had Instagram, and I just fucking left it. And I also found, I think I've said this on Fuad's podcast, but I also found when I introduced myself to other nationalities, it seemed like everyone felt it seemed easier for people to say Carlos than Carl. So it just kind of,
I guess. Carl, like, unless
Carl.
you're like Carl
or Carlos.
Carl.
Yeah, right. Carlos is a bit like, yo, Carlos.
yeah, I get it. That is funny though.
More recently, it was a bit more fun, really, because since competing this year, a few bodybuilding pages started calling me the Brutal Brit. So I've leaned into that. That's now. Cool. So it's Carlos the Brutal Brit Philbrick. Yeah.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah, it kind of goes inside with Ben and I as like the brutal muscle.
Brutal muscle. Yeah.
So,
and I mean, shit, one of the best way, like we use some fun words to describe how things looked on stage in bodybuilding. And I would say that your last look was definitely very brutal looking. So I mean that in the best way possible, dude.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, as you know, like when we were here last year, I was on a bit of a down. You could say a bit of a downer, right?
Yeah.
I was questioning. I think we all do as bodybuilders. You question, am I good enough? Should I be doing this? Am I doing the right thing? You know, per se putting all my eggs in one basket, right? I'm chasing this dream, and I don't know if it's going to freaking pull off or not. And last year we had a bit of a conversation in the gym, didn't we? But where I was like, I'm really dealing with this imposter syndrome. I don't believe I should be pro. I don't think I deserve to be a pro athlete. So I was like, should I just continue in off season and grow because I know I'm not big enough to stand in the open, guys. Because I done Texas Pro at like I should have done 212, Nick. I was 216 pounds, 215 pounds.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna push back a little bit there because like you were smaller, but like the thing that always stands out, and this is, I know you heard this because I heard people tell it to you, is like your condition stood out on stage, and I told that to you like after the show, like that condition, like there's nothing cooler to me than, I don't care how big you are, when somebody looks like a fucking anatomy chart and you can just like obliques peeled. Like I had a natural guy a number of years back who did classic a couple of times with me, and like just the way he would get shredded, I just loved the way it looked. He was small, but like it just looks cool. So like it's even though you might not have made a big splash as far as like really pushing your name forward, that condition goes a long way. Yeah, because if you can get in condition, we can do the rest of it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, right. Because that is the amazing thing, and the nice thing to hear is you have the structure, you have the shape, you can get in condition. You just need more of it.
Fill it out.
Which is, you know, I'm grateful to hear such things, right? Because like going back to what I just said, you question yourself: am I good enough? Should I be doing this? You know, we all have trials and tribulations. We all put stuff on the line to be to this point to be at pro level, right? It doesn't just happen.
I mean, my slogan is "Success requires sacrifice," right? It's on that shirt that's back there, and like it really is one of those situations that every year you have to evaluate: are you ready to sacrifice another year towards this thing that might not ever pay off, right? And it's one of those things that like that feeling only ever scales up, right? From amateur level of like, I want to win a regional show, I want to win my regional class, to winning an overall, to going to nationals, and just climbing the ranks up and up like that. Those margins get slimmer because it becomes ones of ones of ones of ones, right? Because like 800 people just did Battle of Texas. One person wins an overall for bodybuilding. One person wins an overall for classic, right? Like that's how this thing goes. So it only scales up. But every year you have to evaluate, like, do I want to keep doing this? And I think far beyond just like, well, am I ever going to be a good bodybuilder, is to think, ask myself, do I still love this? Because if that's the case, keep fucking beating your head against that wall, because you never know what's going to come from it. You know,
I couldn't agree more, Nick. I fucking love bodybuilding.
Dude,
I love it.
Treat. Yeah.
I love it. When people say like, oh, I found my mothership, or I found the first time I touched the weight, I was like, holy shit, this feels, I don't know what the feeling is, but I love it. And it transitions, later down, many years later, to be where I am now. But yeah, you do sacrifice a lot. And that's what I done. Texas Pro, that's my first pro show last year. And I placed 11th out of 16 guys or whatever it was. So third call out. And I was in that sort of like, I know I need to work, but do I deserve to be here? Anyway, went into off season, had a pretty damn good off season. And this year you could say that, I don't want to sound egotistical, but this year you could say I raised eyebrows, I'd like to think.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
You did.
This guy could actually be something.
Yeah.
And going into the British and placing 8th at the British Grand Prix against Krizo, Samson, James, respected guys, Olympians. And at one point I was in the middle of the second call out, 6th, and I was like, oh my God, like this could be, this is nuts. End up 8th, but I'm still, that's, huge. And then I obviously went on to Prague, and Nick, I couldn't believe it, mate. Like, first of all, that was the biggest stage I've ever experienced in my life. It was nuts. Right. Bearing in mind, so I'm Philbrick and Keone's Pearson, so PP.
Oh yeah.
So he goes out before me, and I'm like, I've got to do my first presentation after Keone. And then so I'm backstage, right? And I'm seeing all this smoke and the music, and I'm thinking, oh my, I shouldn't be here.
What did I sign up for?
I shouldn't be here. I've got an Olympian walking out, if not one of the greatest bodybuilders that's graced our stage, going on stage before I do. I'm going to walk out and the crowd's going to think, who the fuck's this? Who's this guy? Get him off. He's on the wrong stage. But I walked out through the door and the smoke, and I just thought, in my mind, I was like, because I have this, I'm highly critical and I have a lot of self-doubt, but there's something happens to me when my toes touch that stage and the lights hit me and this switch goes, let's fucking go. So I walk up to the lights, I feel the stage, I feel the music, and I'm walking towards the front of the stage, and the first person I look at is Steve Weinberger, and his face, I respect the man, I respect what he does, but his face was stone. And I'm thinking, he don't like me. That was my instant thought. Then I look up and you just see a sea of people.
That's got to be cool.
It's cool, man. And then you feel the lights, and before I do a front double, I sort of like go like this, and then I go up. And I was here, and the microseconds in my brain were like, I shouldn't be here, but let's fucking go. And that was the first presentation, and that moment there was one hell of a feeling.
It's that thing of like if you're gonna jump off a cliff, or you're gonna bungee jump, or you're gonna skydive.
I've done
The only scary part is that like the part where you start to tilt, right? The rest of it, it's like, okay, I'm good, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm going, and that's kind of the same thing. Same thing I feel like it feels like when you get on stage, of like,
yeah, it was
nervous walking up the stairs, but then you get there and you're like, it's just time to do the thing that I've been working on,
Yeah, and yeah, so that happened. I come backstage, and I'm on my own, so I'm backstage, and I went off towards the wall, and I put my head against the wall, and I was like, "Sort yourself out, man. Like, get it together. When you go back on, just do what you normally do. Show confidence." Because I felt like I wasn't confident, but looking back, it didn't look that bad. So then obviously they do first comparisons, and fast forward that, and we get to the call outs. So I'm standing there, I'm thinking, yeah, I'm third call out, like whatever. Like I'll wait for Samson and everyone to do their thing. And second call out, they called my number. I'm like, is he for real? Like, what?
Well, they called what, 5 people?
I think
for first call outs.
First call out was 6. Second call out, I think there was like 7 or 8 of us. So it was kind of a bigger one.
Okay.
So done second call out, and I was like, what the, And I was like,
man, go for it. You say whatever you want, bro.
Second call out in Prague, out of 29 guys for my third pro show, ended up overall placing 13th out of 29 guys, which was
with multiple Olympia champions and multiple Olympians. Like, that's nothing to be mad at,
Yeah. So, and that moment there was like the confirmation I personally need for me to say, just tip your hat and say, hey, you're not, this could go somewhere. Keep punching. So yeah, that was a big moment for me, obviously coming from last year to that moment on stage in Prague against them people. The British was amazing. Great athletes, great guys, top level guys, but the Prague was just obviously that level up. And for me, I've always had this conversation with Ben, who coaches me, Ben Chow. I've always had the conversation with him, which is what I've done as an amateur. I don't want to say the harder shows, because that's the wrong thing to say, because there's no such thing as a easy show in a pro ranks. But I always want to stand on the stage where the upper echelon or tier 1 athletes are, because I want to experience it. At the end of the day, I love bodybuilding. I want to stand on stage with them. I want to see them. I want to feel it. I want to experience it. And I'm really big on experiencing it, enjoying the journey. That's why I had to have a word with myself backstage, because it's like, regardless of all this stuff, the journey is this. So this, take it in. You're not going to get this back. I'm not going to get this back.
That's a great way to look at that, man. I'm glad that you think about things that way, because like, how many people can say that they got to stand on stage with Samson? Not that many, right?
Yeah.
And same with Martin, same with Keone. Like you got to stand with some of the greats of our sport, and it's not like you said, it's not like people were like, why the fuck is this guy on stage? Like, people were like, holy shit, this guy looks really fucking good. Good symmetry, great condition. Your tan was good. Your glaze was good. Like, everything that you did was very solid. Your routine was good. Your posing was good. Like, it's just like, continue to do exactly what you're doing. It's the thing that you always hear, that like, you're one off season away from just everything coming together, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, like this goes back to like the conversation that you and I had at Destination, of like you being in that spot and kind of feeling down on yourself, and like those times come around, and we all kind of need to chat through those things. But we talked about it, and it's like, man, like, if you're still enjoying this and you're still like having a good time doing it and you want to just make progress, like don't worry about where am I going to end up being, just do it. Right. And then you never know what's going to come from it. Right. Because like what comes from you deciding to be done? Like you're just going to stop doing this. You're going to just not be, you're not going to lift anymore. You're not going to eat anymore. Like you're just going to quit doing it all. No, you're not. You're going to keep doing the same thing. So it's like, okay, give yourself some time to relax, which I don't think people do enough. I don't think they assess things enough when they need to just like not immediately jump into an off season or immediately go into another prep or like immediately focused on the next goal. Sometimes you just need to settle and be in the moment. Right. And that can help a lot of people.
Yeah, 100%. Because coming out of Texas last year, I probably stayed in shape a little bit too long after that because I was going to the Olympia and stuff, and I was in that like I want to look good. It was bad mentality. Oh, as the Wi-Fi dropped, I got you back.
Nope, I got you. You're good. If you see me pause, if you see me like lag or anything like that, it'll be fine because it records everything locally. So you're good. Yeah.
So coming out of that, and then I mean, I'll be open and honest too. I'm someone that comes off. I like clear out nothing. So over Christmas and stuff, I had a real off stage, no supplementation, no nothing. And that was like my time of like, come down, relax, assess. Like, at the end of the day, I love bodybuilding. At the end of the day, like you say, I'm going to wake up tomorrow, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to eat my meals, And it's just that constant process. And like you say, you just keep stacking them days and it's going to go, you don't know where it's going to go, but you enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And that led into me doing that off season, and I felt amazing and everything.
Right. And I think that's really smart, like to come all the way down like that and to let your body completely relax, because like when you're gassed up, even when you're just on TRT, like you're a little bit more emotional, and emotional decisions are never the right decisions, right? Like when we make impulse decisions based off emotion in a moment, that's when we end up making our worst decisions and end up doing things that could otherwise be detrimental. You know what I mean? Like things that we wouldn't normally do. So it gives you time to like center, get rational, and then look at things from a big perspective of like, all right, well, how realistic is this? Is this something that I'm going to have to like really sacrifice a lot that I'm not willing to? Or is it just a matter of just more time and the same effort applied? And then we end up where we are.
Yeah, I've got something that a bit of a slogan myself that I always say to myself. It's actually something my dad said to me, is you don't know until you try.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I continue to say to myself. I don't know until I try. I don't just keep going. Just keep going. I don't know until I try. And just kind of, it's ended up here, weirdly, somehow.
Yeah.
It still confuses the shit out of me. I don't know how.
I mean, I think we all look at it that way, and you're not the one. You look at yourself all the time, so it's hard to set. No matter how long you've been doing this, it's always hard to separate yourself from yourself. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to see it because you see it all the time. You see when it's like little things slightly off or little things here and there, and like it's in our nature to find the negatives, right? And like part of our jobs of being coaches is to find the places some people are lagging. We have to focus on negative aspects of a physique. And then if you sit in that for too long and you start to nitpick your own self, right? That's when things start to get really bad, because you start to lose how good you are in other places because you're hyper focused on something tiny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And that obviously comes with learning the mental game and becoming stronger with that, because as you know, mate, that can happen quite often when you're leading into a show or close to the show, and you spend, when them check-ins start ramping up after every meal and you're looking at yourself so much, you can really lose sight. And that's where the value of a coach does come in, as you say, to keep you on that straight and narrow.
You can always tell when a client's looking at themselves too much, because they'll start texting you a whole bunch.
Yeah.
they'll start sending messages regularly, and you're like, put your fucking shirt on, shut the fuck up.
This is so, even though I coach myself, like my coaching brain and my personal brain are two different guys. And for Prague, we loaded pretty hard. We done like the big carb up, because I can handle a lot of food. Like I can eat 1,000 grams of carbs in a day, carbing up. And we were doing a meal, and then we were doing a mini meal. So it was like 200 grams of cream of rice, honey, this, all that stuff. And then an hour later, it was rice cakes, honey, jam. It was kind of like that.
Yeah.
And I was back, and then also Ben was like, let's do some muffins pre-stage, 30 minutes or an hour before, sorry. And I was backstage, and I had these muffins an hour before, 30 minutes before stage. I was like, Ben, I think I'm flat. And he was like, replied saying, fuck off. There's no way that you're flat. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm just, when you're I think I was so loaded.
Yeah.
I was just ready to touch a band and things would come up, right? It's a hard feeling to explain, but if you've experienced it, you'll know it. Like, I've ate so much, I was like, I don't know. And then as soon as I started pumping up, obviously everything started.
Just came to life. Yeah. It's such a wild thing to watch that stuff happen backstage. Like I just experienced that with Sam this weekend of like, he almost went on stage completely fasted because he woke up just like on the money. But then we got backstage, and I was like, all right, like I can see you're like a little bit flat. Let's give you a little bit of rice cakes and some honey. So we ended up having 4 rice cakes with like a spread of honey on them. And it just like, by the minute, you could just see things just like filling out more and more, and things were getting tighter and looking fuller. And I was like, oh my God, it's just so much fun to watch that shit happen. You just see them just like inflating.
When someone's that lean and they're that sensitive to food, and you can literally see it, it is so exciting. And that's one of the things of bodybuilding that get you.
Yeah, that's the stuff that makes you geek out. Like my buddy got pictures of me and Ray posing him backstage before finals, I think, and like one of them, I'm like, oh, like geeked out. Like I made a joke to my client Zach earlier, and I was like, this kind of stuff just tickles my autism just a little bit, and I get real excited real fast.
That's awesome. I will preference. It's like we said earlier, though. You have to be in shape for that shit to work like that.
Yeah,
you have to be super lean, super sensitive. Yeah.
And the more I do this, and the more I put people on stage, the more it's like all of these peaking protocols don't matter when somebody's that lean. You know what I mean? Like it really comes down to really small adjustments when you are shredded enough. You know what I mean? Like if you're having to, like, obviously things come out of left field, right? Like people get sick, or people have digestive stress or whatever. And then you might have to do something like, or maybe they had a piss poor night of sleep or whatever. And like they're holding water for whatever reason. You're going to have to do some weird shit sometimes. But like for the most part, in a given circumstance where somebody is just like cruising into a show, everything's smooth, no weird things are coming out of left field. Like it should be as easy as just like bring food up, fuck around with water as you need to, and get on stage, like.
It's something I spoke about to a couple of my guys recently that competed. I pre-preference it because I'm like, look, you're not competing. You're going to the gym. Let's act like some of your best looks are when you've trained and you've pumped up and you've took your post-workout pictures. We just want to recreate that. We don't need to change it. We might bring your water down a little bit, but we just, as a whole, we're just going to cruise you in.
Yep.
And I think it seems to be happening more and more now in the coaching bodybuilder, because there was a big thing, you got to bring your body, deplete yourself right down and then carb up, or pull your sodium right back and then pull the water, this, that, and the other. And I think when you're in shape, truly in shape, like you say, there's not a lot to change, because why do you need to change anything? Because you're there, you're ready.
We know what the look looks like with the fluids in. We know what the look looks like with this amount of carbs in. Like if you're paying attention to those things, like you're 100% right. Like we shouldn't have to change anything. And that's what, like I told to my client, Sam, and like, he's young. He's only competed. This isn't his third time and his first time ever competing with me. So like it was a lot of like, hey, this sounds weird, but this is what we're going to do. But I just need you to listen to me. And like we ran peaks multiple times because he was in shape early. So like we got to fuck around with a couple different things and finally got our look down. And after feeding him for a couple of days and moving back to baseline, I saw him one morning completely fasted on a liter of fluid. And I was like, this is the look. This is what we're going for. Like, this is it. And that's where I built all that information around. So it was like, yeah, I mean, based on the timeline of when they're going to start the show and when you're going to be on stage, I don't need to like fill you with food. We did that the last couple of days, and it just woke up perfect. And
to be honest,
that's the thing you should be paying attention to for sure.
Right. And I think the goal really, I feel, is you don't really want to be eating a shit ton of food one day out or a day on or the day of the show. Ideally, everybody's different. Every you have to go with what the body's doing. But as a whole, if you can, loading a little bit earlier and backing off is an ideal situation, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
for sure.
I'd much rather be playing like backing off food than playing catch up, and
100%.
The thing that you touched on there for a second of like people talking about like, oh, you have to deplete really hard and then fill out. Like, I think actually that's one of the reasons why it was so easy to get Sam like full. And it was so easy to manipulate the look a little bit fuller or a little bit drier. Like, it was very easy to manipulate because he had been on maintenance calories for 5 or 6 weeks. So like he wasn't in a hole, and I wasn't having to dig him out of like a really deep deficit, and like there's certainly times where we need to go super low on carbs to finish some things out and whatever, and like get somebody super sensitive. There's always going to be weird things like that happen, but on the whole, if we can get somebody to where they're shredded enough 3, 4, 5 weeks out, we can pull them back up to baseline and have them like kind of hold all the way through. Hopefully that will negate some of the need to have to fill somebody aggressively. Obviously you still had to eat a shitload and you weren't coming out of some really deep deficit hole, but it does help out a lot when you're not going from like, oh, I have no food in my system to like, let's try to get you filled out now, So
it's funny you say that because it was probably around 4 weeks out. Me and Ben had a conversation like, you're pretty much there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fine line of like being in shape and then pushing so far that you start losing. And I was 220 pounds on stage at Prague, so not the biggest, obviously, as we've spoken about. And it was like, you're in condition. What's the point fighting for that extra percent when you're probably going to lose your physique, when you need to have some sort of pop to my physique, which is one of my strengths is when I fill out, I get a bit rounder, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, it was around 4 weeks out from the British, actually. So 5 weeks out from Prague. My high day of 600 grams of carbs then become my baseline diet because I was in shape.
Yeah.
I'm on a diet, dude, eating 600 grams of carbs a day, and I was still, because my body was in a groove, I was just getting tighter and tighter. And Ben was like, I'm like, hey, let's do 800 on a high day. Like, let's do a fat. And my body was just in this groove and grooving and grooving. And that right there stopped me from going in such a hole that when I got on stage, I wasn't, like you spoke about, I was a bit fresher, rounder, and it was just, okay, I still have to eat a lot because that's just what my body needs to do. But it's if you get in shape early and do that, it's not a bad like way of doing it.
Right. And the number one thing to making sure that you can peak a physique well is minimizing stress. Right. And one of the ways we minimize stress is by not being in an aggressive deficit leading right up to the show. And like, again, there are plenty of circumstances where like you're going to be still digging somebody a couple of weeks out. Like, so there are some people's bodies who's just fight. But with a body like yours or a body like Sam's, it was one of those things where like I started seeing the rate of change on Sam go from like a pound to 2 pounds to 3 pounds a week. And it was like, whoa. Like if we keep doing this, filling you out will never happen. You know? And like, if you guys, like you said, maybe if you'd even dug one more week, it would have gotten to a spot where you were never able to catch back up, and then trying to fill you out the day of the show comes down to like, well, we have to go get a burger and fries now because I can't get enough food in you. And then now all of a sudden you don't know if this is
the variables on that.
Yeah.
This is the problem I feel for obviously the classic guys that have to make weight. and then they only have like a day or so to fill out, it's not really going to happen, right? Because you're driving your body so far into this hole to get to make weight.
I think I've said this a number of times because I did the classic physique radio. I've said this a number of times, like people having to beat themselves down into classic physique are doing themselves a disservice, because
100%.
you are never going to get the best look out of your physique when it has to be beaten like that. First you diet off muscle, then you have to dig yourself out of a hole in like a day and a half. Like it's just never going to work. So like there's a lot of guys in classic right now that look amazing, that if they were allowed to just like, if they could just be above their weight cap and go into the open, would look incredible. Not saying that they would win classes or anything, but they would bring a physique that was like, holy fucking shit, that's what we wanted to see.
Right. It's even like Samson, right? They dug hard, real hard, and they just didn't give them themselves enough time to fill out, and that was a hard learning curve for them. I haven't spoke to Samson and Mel, but I can imagine that was,
I mean, even at Prague, like he was a lot better at Prague than he was at the Olympia, but even at Prague, he still had some he could go, and it's like, it's one of those things of like, if you dig yourself into a hole, you got to remember that you got to fill that bitch back in.
And he's a 300-pound motherfucker.
And then on top of it, you got to fill on top of it, because it's not just getting back to baseline. It's like, we need to be filled. We need to be like, we need to show the tissue that we have.
But again, it all comes back to that only works when you're in shape, because you can't be fat and fill.
Because
that will just spill.
For sure. So it's definitely like, it all starts with condition. If you can get that first, we can build the rest of it.
One of the big eye openers for me was actually when I turned pro in Ireland. That was the best condition to that point that I'd been in. And I remember saying to Ben, I don't think it matters what the hell I eat right now. Everything is just, it's just working. Everything is just working. And that was our first like mad carb up, where we learned that my body was like, it needs like a few thousand grams of carbs to
people are going to be annoyed when they get continuing to talk about Sam, because I've been talking about him for the last couple of weeks because he's been the last client of the year. But it's the same situation where like him being young and being a little like, I don't really know what's going on here. He would message me and say things like, "Oh, I just don't want to be spilled." And I told him a couple of times, like, dude, it would take an act of God for us to do that. Like the thing I told him was like, as lean as you are, all we're doing is managing fullness versus dryness. We're seeing how full we can get you and how dry we can keep you. Like that is the game we're playing here.
And when you're that lean, and say, for instance, you do hold a bit of water, there's protocols you can do to help that kind of stuff. So
called pull carbs down. Usually it's not that hard when you're that lean to get water off, period.
To let the body settle and just do a couple no carb meals.
Exactly. Yeah. Just pull fluids back, pull carbs back, whatever it is that you did a little too much of, just pull back on it,
I've obviously been, I'm actually, obviously, as you know, I'm at the office now, and seeing him earlier, he's a big boy for 19. Dude. He's a big boy. Is he 6 foot?
I think he's probably like 5'11". He's in that ballpark. He's tall.
He's tall. Yeah,
he's tall.
But he's a big boy. 19.
It's pretty fucking wild, man. And it was cool because his dad's in town right now, and his dad was here for this. His dad's a pretty quiet guy, but you can tell that like Sam definitely got those genetics from his dad. He's a tall built guy, and his dad played football and all that kind of stuff. And, I complimented his dad, and I was like, dude, I got to tell you, man, like obviously your son is physically really good here, but the number one thing that I can tell he was raised well, because he is extremely coachable and is willing to, like, even if I have to tell him something that like probably doesn't want to hear, he's going to take it and listen to it. And we will have a conversation about it. Like, the kid shows up with a notebook and has like writes things down, and he has questions for me. And he's always willing to like tell me how he feels, but also understand that I might tell him, hey, you gotta just shut the fuck up and relax. Like, you know what I mean? So I complimented his dad on that. And like, I think that's one of the main reasons that at 19 years old, he is as good as he has been. You know what I mean?
100%. you develop certain attributes, right, through experiences per se, football, coaching, that kind of thing. But I do believe that you are almost born with some sort of some behavior of like consistency, or you hone in on something and you go and that takes a certain type of person, or like him, the young lad that has that early on. I've got the same kind of guys in Max. He's 20 years old. He's a freak, mate. I wonder if I can try and show you on the screen, but he's the same. I said to you earlier, I said I don't know where these freaks are coming from, but they're popping up.
Yeah.
He's 20.
I can see it a little bit. Yeah, he looks big from what I can see. I can see that shoulder and arm. Yeah, I want to stay a little bright, but you can send it to me and I can always put it on there later.
It's like, I don't know if you can.
Oh yeah, he's a big boy.
Yeah, 20 years old, man.
Boy, that's crazy, dude.
It's
yeah,
they're
coming out of the woodworks, man. I did a whole podcast with Dusty Hanshaw about it.
Crazy. The thing is with Max, he was a British powerlifter. Like, so he's got that base of
strength.
Raw strength.
Yeah.
Like the guys over here, like the American football, and I should say football, sorry. But they're all in the weight room early doors, and they're training with each other, and you're building that sort of that fast twitch fibers of like.
So I didn't even realize this, but Sam's dad said that he was a high level hockey player too for a while.
There you go.
And I said that's why you have those glutes and legs.
Yeah.
All that skating and pushing on the ice and stuff.
Young
like,
age.
Yeah. That's such a fundamental thing. And to be honest, like I got to a certain level in bodybuilding, and I was fairly big when I was competing and whatnot. You just got to move, and there's a sensor in there.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. But I was fairly big, but like I wasn't an athlete growing up. Like, I'm not athletic. Don't throw a fucking ball at me, please. Like, it's gonna hit me. But like, so I didn't have that. So like, I didn't have that fundamental. So it took me a long time to build into that thing versus somebody like Sam or like your client who had that stuff from an early age. That structure is fucking fantastic.
Because for me, like personally, I was the guy that played all sports, but soccer was like my main thing, right? And I used to run a lot and stuff like that. I went to the gym, but then I was a hell of a party boy, like Ibiza, warehouse raves in London, and all this crazy stuff. So I didn't really start bodybuilding until I was 24. Like, really started to take it more seriously. So it's only 6 years or so of actual bodybuilding. But these young guys now, they're coming in and they're just going full. They're paying for the coach. They're full sending it. They're locked in. They're consistent, and they've got that coachable behavior. And that's why we're seeing this fast development of these guys early on.
And that to me is so fucking fun. There's nothing more fun to me than somebody who comes to me who is like ready to send it. You know what I mean? And I don't mean like, people always want to, when I say that are ready to send it, they're immediately go, oh, you mean he's going to take a lot of drugs? Like, no, I mean, somebody who's willing to show up day in and day out and do this thing, live this bodybuilding lifestyle, because it's when I can see when I can make a change and see it immediately, that shit's cool to me. I get excited for it. And it gets me gassed up when I'm dealing with somebody who's like, kind of, oh yeah, it was all right this week and this, that, and the other. It's like, that's when I dread my job. That's when I'm like, I don't want to fucking deal with you. Like, if you're not trying to do something, please don't hit me up. Like, if you want to be serious and you want to lock in, let's go. But I'm not here to babysit you. Like, that's the stuff that gets me geeked out about.
You find, Nick, that the guys that are locked in the way they are, you'll give them what you need to give them. They'll go away. You don't hear from them. They come back like, yep, this is what I've done. This is the progress I've made.
Yeah.
Next, what's next?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're just doing. They're not
right. And they're not the ones who are like hitting you up constantly about like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? What do you think about this? It's like, just stick to what I have. You know what I mean? Like, the unfortunate reality of the world that we live in is everybody has a platform and everybody gets to look at that platform now, right? So like, you're just scrolling through things and you see this guy talking about this steroid, and this guy talking about this peptide and this protocol and this, that, and the other. And you start to go, well, should I be leveraging these things? And it's like, well, yes, sometimes, but just because this is a great thing and an awesome product that helps in certain places doesn't mean that it needs to be put in. If it's working, let's keep fucking going.
Yeah,
You know what I
right.
mean? It's like just keep moving forward. Now, if I'm missing something stupid and somebody's like, "Oh, should I be taking creatine?" It's like, "Oh yeah, I should probably fucking have that on everybody's plan." You know what I mean? Like, if it's something like that, then yeah, I'm an idiot. But like, if it's something that's like some niche small peptide that you think is going to change everything for you, then no. Like, all I need you to do is eat the fucking food that I tell you to eat, train the way I tell you to train, send me check-ins and communicate. Plain and simple. The rest will fucking come.
It literally comes down to consistent. I know we've all heard it 100 times, but the guys that are the most consistent and the guys that are most disciplined make the biggest changes. I actually had a conversation with a client the other week because he's a lovely guy. Got a lot of time for him. He's actually a friend. And he messaged me. He's like, "I'm really excited for this next off season. I think we should really push stuff." And I said, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "Well, push stuff." And I was like, "Right, first of all, I'm gonna, like, that's a stupid thought. Oh, but I saw people on TikTok taking this, this, and this, and this." And I said, "Right, first of all, you've told me consistently you only sleep 4 or 5 hours a night. Secondly, you work 6, 7 days a week out of choice because you want more money. That's fine. That's up to you. Thirdly, when you have the time off at the weekends, you run around doing whatever you can to whatever, right? But you're telling me that you want to be a pro bodybuilder, but you're not making the significant actions to facilitate that. And that means making sure you get 6, 7, 8 hours sleep, making sure you don't miss meals, making sure when you rest, making sure that maybe you only need to train 4 days a week to allow yourself the rest and recovery." And I said that right there is the biggest issue I find, is where people want a red line when you actually don't need to red line. You need to bring the engine up to a good spot and run it at a nice speed and keep you there on the motorway.
Like the worst thing you could do to a body that's already stressed out is stress it out more. Right. And like, if you're getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep, you're not drinking enough water, you're partying on the weekends, you're eating food that really fucks your stomach up, your digestion sucks, your recovery sucks, and you just throw drugs into it, it's only going to inflame that system. It's only going to inflame that system and make it worse. Fix the systems first.
And this goes back to, our guys, Sam and Max. So they've already got that attitude of like, okay, this is what I need to do. I know I need to rest. Max, bless him, he's in off season. I give him 1 off meal or 2 off meals a week because I'm good. He's good with that. He said, "I haven't even had one because I've enjoyed my food so much." Do you know what I mean? I don't even need to.
Yeah.
That's the mentality. It's a whole different echelon of what. Sometimes in bodybuilding, we love it, right? But sometimes in bodybuilding, you have to do what you need to do, not what you want to do.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So that means you have to make sure you eat your 6 meals. You have to make sure you get your sleep. You have to make sure you drink your water, because at a certain point, drinking 3 liters of water or a gallon of water is not what the body needs. If you've got a certain amount of muscle tissue, you're moving, manual work, whatever it may be, even the water and the sodium. Because I put on everyone's plan, sodium, make sure 2 grams, 1 to 2 grams per meal, because there's this stigma that sodium is really bad. And it's like, oh, I'm not getting a pump at all, but okay, have you had your sodium and how much water have you drunk? So there's lots of other variables that Sam and Max are hitting from an early age that transcend them pretty quickly. So, because I feel sorry for these guys, because they get tarnished with the drug thing, right? It's even Max, bless him. I know exactly what I'll be open with you. He's taking 300 milligrams of test, for fuck's sake. And he's developing at a rate like, it's just like, what the hell? So it's just a different. That's not the secret. The secret is consistency, rest, and not missing meals.
Yeah, the thing that everybody wants to be the reality is that there's results at the end of a bottle, and it's just not the case. It's like, if there's not that foundation of training and diet and sleep and all that other stuff first, like there's nothing for you at the bottom of a bottle. It's side effects and annoyingness is what there is.
Yeah, 100%. And that's I've always had that mentality myself personally, and not to go on about myself, but I do believe that's why I'm getting kind of complimented on my physique, because I'm not pushing and growing at a rate that when my physique is not handling what's going on. And I've consistently put on 10 pounds. Okay, that sounds a lot, and it is a lot, but it's being sensible.
Yeah.
A sensible 10 pounds.
I can't point to a single person that like really tried to absolutely force themselves to grow that came out the other side better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you might get away with it for a season or two, and you might have to force some things in order to crack into like a heavier class. Like if you're somebody who's small, you might have to force a little bit to like get some weight on. You might have to get a little fatter. You might have to like get a little sloppy at least once, right? But like if you do that season after season after season, you are going to end up ruining something, whether it's your midsection, your blood work, your heart, like whatever it might be, something's going to crack. And maybe it's even just your mental state because of how hard you're pushing towards this thing. You know, like you never gave yourself a time off. Like no one ever came out the other side of redlining their physique better, you know, and I think
it's like anything, isn't it? It's like, it's only so long you can whack that car into 6th gear and run that fucker like foot to the floor.
And I think I think that's super important too, with like you having been with Ben for a long time.
Yeah, yes.
You know, like you are allowing Ben to bring to fruition what he saw in your physique from the beginning. You know, and like that's one of the things of like people hopping around to multiple different people. It's like, look, I totally can understand about like you had a bad interaction with somebody, or you want to learn from somebody else, or what insert whatever reason. Like I'm not saying you shouldn't try other coaches, but when you do try other coaches, give them more than one season, give them more than one peak, because like I can't tell you how many times like I'm like, oh fuck, I could have done that a little bit better, and then this person either never competes again, goes to another coach or whatever, and it's like, well, I didn't get my opportunity to try again because I know I can do that better, you know. And it's like I've had that conversation with it's why my client Blake has done so well. It's why like a bunch of my clients have done so well, because they've given me the time to bring to fruition the thing that I knew we could do over an extended period of time.
100%,
you know,
and that's for me personally. Like I never, you know, there were some shows that me and Ben done, and I was like, fuck, like, you know, we missed it.
We shit the bed on that one.
But I never looked to. The thought never come into my mind to look to blame Ben. It was never a blame game. It's like, that's what happened. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
On to the next. And yeah, like 5 years down. I mean, I've been coaching. I've been with Ben since 2020, so 5 years now. And it was a really couple nice compliments actually after the British and Prague, where a couple guys said, "You and Ben just don't miss." And I was like, thank you, like I appreciate that. It means a lot.
We do, but thanks.
Yeah, right. But I told Ben, and I was like, we had a couple nice compliments, and it's like, and even Ben was like, yeah, but we could tighten the screw. That's the coach in mind. We could tighten.
Of course.
But I said, but Ben, and he agreed. Like it's so nice to build that relationship where you don't miss per se. Obviously, there's some red herrings here and there. There's never gonna be perfect, but building that synergy and learning that body. And because even Ben was like, hey, we know that you're going to need this much food. We know that if we pull sodium this low, it's not going to, and it's just building that information on the physique. So, and it's also building that relationship where you can talk with each other and feed each other information. So yeah, it's definitely important. And, you know, I can understand if people want to go to another coach because they just generally don't gel with someone. That's understandable.
Right.
Or they just don't, they're not feeling their kind of coaching style. That's fine. Like I had a client leave not too long ago, and he said, I can't complain about everything. I just want a cheerleader. And I said, well, that's very honest of you. That's very honest of you.
Mm-hmm. I'm not doing that.
I'm not going to tell you you're amazing every day. That's just not my coaching style. So.
Dude, no. I literally just had to tell somebody the other week that you didn't sign up for me to be your babysitter.
Yeah.
You signed up for me to be your coach. You have your plan, execute. I'm not following up unless you want to check in with me.
But I have to respect that guy because he told me straight up.
Yeah.
Fair enough. You're being honest with what you're saying.
But that's what it takes, man. And like, people are always like, you have to be honest with your coach and then want to lie about things like immediately. And it's like, even small things. It's like, look, you telling me that you messed this up or did this over here isn't an opportunity for me to beat you down. I just need to know it so that I know how to handle it,
Yeah.
and I think people, the only word that I can come up with is conflict, but it's not conflict. It's like people are unwilling to have hard conversations just for the sake of avoiding conflict. It's like, it doesn't need to be conflict. You just need to tell me what I'm missing. You know what I mean? Like, and I tell this to my clients all the time of like, tell me if you don't like something. If something's fucked up, I need to know.
Yeah. 100%. And again, that's building that relationship and that trust. And I'm very big on making sure people feel open that they can talk to me, right?
Like, I don't know about you, man, but nothing feels better than a client message me and tell me how much they love working with me. Like, that's awesome. I do appreciate that, but I don't learn anything from that.
Yeah.
I just go, cool. I'm the shit. I'm awesome. Right. Like that. Great. I like to feel that way, but like, I guarantee if a client messages me right now and goes, hey man, I don't like this, this, and this, and the way you're doing X, Y, and Z, I learned something there. Cool.
Yeah.
That's great. I need to know that so that I can coach you better or coach the next person better.
Yeah. It's that feedback for sure. And it's like, it's just, it's making, but I think also it's making people feel comfortable with being able to speak to you. And I'm quite an open guy anyway, and I wear my heart on my sleeve. So generally people are pretty good. The people that I have are pretty good with being open and with me. So, and I like that. And I like people can feel like they can talk to me because that's important.
Yeah. That's something I need to work on. It's something that I think that I'm good at it because I always tell my clients like, hey, you can always tell me anything you need to. But I think I'm intense when I speak. I speak passionately, and like even when I'm not angry, I'll sound like I'm getting angry, and I'm not. I'm fine. But
I'm okay.
Yeah. And my girlfriend, God bless her. I mean, she's helping me out a lot with that, and like helping me like kind of recognize those things and understand that, and like. A lot of times I have to kind of like take a step back, think the thing and say the thing out loud that like I want to say. That's the first initial knee jerk reaction. And then take a second and gather how I need to deliver it,
This is actually an interesting conversation, Nick, because it's funny you touch on this because right this moment in life right now, I'm trying to unpack myself and understand myself and not so even in a relationship, not act on emotions fast and create arguments or, learn to step back and say, hey, give me a minute. Let me process this. And, I'm going through this journey of like trying to understand me and why I have certain insecurities and why I have certain feelings about stuff. So it's definitely good to like you say, recognize, okay, you might be a bit passionate at times. How can I make this better? Not only for me, but for people to understand me more, right? So it's a good thing to do. And I think as men, it should be something that we can talk about and do, right?
Yeah.
Because most men shut down and hide.
Yeah, and my girlfriend had to point out to me like that this was the conversation we had, and she said to me like, a lot of people, again using the same word I said earlier, like a lot of people just aren't ready to have conflicting conversations, like a conversation where things are like going to be like, oh, what is he going to think if I tell him X, and I'm comfortable in that situation. I'm the guy that will walk up to somebody and call them out on something like to their face. I'm that guy. I will be the one to go deliver bad news. I got it. Like, I'm cool with that. Not to say that it's not going to give me anxiety of like, oh shit, how's this person going to take it? And not that I deliver it very well, but I'm okay to do it. Like, I don't have a problem with that. But a lot of people
being realism. Could that come down to just being a real human that you just want things to be dealt with? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like I've always been what you would call a rule follower. Like the thing I always tell people is like, you know, sometimes when people tell you like this is what we do, like when you first get like before you started working for yourself and you worked a real job, if you show up and they're like, hey, this is a rule, like this is what we need to do, and then all of a sudden you see somebody doing something different and they're like, oh, we kind of do it this way over here. Well, don't tell me about that fucking rule over there, because now I'm going to go, well, you're doing it wrong. Like that's how my brain works, is like I'm very like rule oriented, and like this is the way things work. So like when something is outside of that, it frustrates me. It lights again my autism up, and I get
aggressive. Me because I'm the guy that's outside of the rules. If you tell me when I'm doing fucking something else.
Yeah. So like I've had to learn to just kind of let a lot of things go and just not realize that like a lot of this shit doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean? So it's like just kind of taking a step back from that and understanding that like, yeah, there might be rules, but they don't need to be so rigid all the time. You know, there are certain things that do need to be rigid, right? Like whatever example you want to put in there. But like I have to learn to be a little bit more flexible, especially with our job, because if I try to go in with complete set hard structured rules, I'm gonna miss more often than not, because there is no rule book. You know, you touched on it earlier, and I said this to Sam, because we did a lot of unorthodox things throughout his prep. We did a lot of like things that you would think wouldn't make sense in order to get shredded for a bodybuilding show. And I told him, look, man, there is no right or wrong decisions, only a look. Only if the only thing that matters is, did we get the look? It doesn't matter if it's like, it doesn't matter. None of that shit matters. The only thing that matters is, did we get the result we wanted? Yes or no? No, cool. Then we were fucking wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that goes. Someone asked me a question the other day about training, saying, "What do you think about this upper lower, splits or push pull?" And I was like, I have no opinion on it, because if it works and you're growing, who am I to say that you're doing wrong? I like the way that I train because I found, one, I enjoy it, and two, it's working for me, so I continue to do it.
Hey, guess what? Train hard, it works.
Cool. Yeah. And that is, I couldn't agree more. Like, man, if you get in shape eating burgers, go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
If you get in shape eating one rice cake a day and have to do 4 hours cardio, go do that. It's no rules.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. And like, just to give you an example here, like one of the things that I really had to get through to him was like in the process of peaking, it wasn't just like bring the food up, right? Because we would bring the food up and he would drop so much weight overnight, he'd get flat. And like, I just couldn't get the look that I needed. So I took a page out of Martin's book, and Martin Fitzwater talked about using McDonald's fries with no salt and salting them himself. And I was like, oh, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Because I wanted potatoes in there, but too many potatoes with the amount of food he would eat would bloat his stomach and we'd have an issue. So we did a large McDonald's fry, and then he did the rest of his carbs from cream of rice in that meal, and it worked out beautifully, like absolutely perfect. And like from a rule standpoint, fries are not on a bodybuilding diet. That doesn't seem like it would be right, but it got the look that we needed. So yes, it was correct in that moment, and like also like I pulled his cardio completely at like 5 weeks out. I moved him up to maintenance calories at like 5 weeks out. Like we did all these things that you would think would be counterintuitive, but it all led to the peak that we got, which was phenomenal. So
yeah, that's really cool, man. Like you say, like no rules, and whatever's working or works, then run it.
Yeah. I think when you first get into coaching, rules is a good idea, right? Because it gives you a structure of like, this is kind of how I do things, right? Of like, this has worked with other people, so how does it apply to other people? But then you have to learn to manipulate those rules and break those rules. Like, this is what I typically do, but in this scenario, I'm going to do this instead. And I think the people who learn to be adaptable and flexible like that are the people who end up being the best coaches, are the people who end up being the ones that people go to, because like this guy gets people shredded, this guy peaks really well. You know what I mean? Like that's how that works.
It's funny, right? Because sometimes we get questions like, "Hey, so what we doing for the peak? What's the next 5 days look like?" And it's like, dude,
exactly like the last 5 days.
Let's take one day at a time, and let's do what we done yesterday. There's so it's the more you get into bodybuilding, the more you do bodybuilding, the more that you realize you have to do less. Does that make sense? the less you do, the better the outcome is in a lot of aspects.
It is such a simple sport that we overcomplicate.
Yeah,
It really is.
Yeah.
It
And
really
that goes with the training, and we can all have our opinions about certain training styles and whatever else. But like we said, at the end of the day, if you're resting well and training hard,
Yep.
go have it.
Well, it's always funny when people get caught up in like what training style works best, because like, look, I've been doing this for 15, 16 years, and across that period of time, a lot of different styles have worked.
Yeah.
You know, and like it's all dependent on where you are at that time. When I was really hard focused on getting as big as I possibly could, or getting ready for a show, it was all out intensity, low volume stuff, and it worked great for me. I fucking blew up in a couple of years. Like I went from being a classic guy at like 205 pounds to super heavy. So it's like it happened in a 2-year time period because I trained really intensely. I can't do that shit anymore.
No.
I can't. It hurts when I do that. So I'm a little bit higher volume. I train a little bit more with a pump, a little bit more of a quote unquote RIR, you know, and it's like I just traded that volume for intensity, and it works way better for me right now. And I feel good. I enjoy the way I look. Like that's what matters, you know?
Even coming down to like frequency and stuff, because when I come off Texas last year, Ben was like, you know, you need to really bring your shoulders and arms up more. And now it's got to the point this year where it's like, hey man, your back's shit. You need to get better from the back. And it's like, okay, let's do. At one point I've got this split where I'm pretty much doing back 3 times a week. At one point it's like every other week.
Nice.
And as long as I can recover from it, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So the shoulders and the back are more priority because I need that width. Where before my legs were a focus. Now my legs have got to a point where we're like, okay, we can calm that down a bit. So it's just a frequency, and like you are where you are in that time frame and how you're developing your physique. And that's something else me and my training partner Zach were speaking on. I said, do you think people actually stand back and really reflect on their physiques and what needs to be worked on? Because year on year, again, I can only speak for myself and the clients that I work with, year on year, it's like, okay, we need to work on this now. We need to work on this. But I find, no hate, I find some guys continue to do the same process, and they start to, their physique is not, it's mismatching, right?
They just hyperfixate on what's really good. You know what I mean? And or they hyperfixate on the things they like. And that's definitely a big thing. And it's a matter of like, I think people do assess. I just don't know how honest that assessment is.
Maybe,
you know, like,
because for me, I'm at a point, and even with the guys and girls that I coach, it's like, you want to compete. So we love training, but we also need to develop the physique into a competitive physique. It's not about training what you love. You might love doing legs 3 times a week, but that's not conducive to what we need, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's something, again, not to keep going back, but people like Max and stuff, the young guys, they're picking up early on. And it's something myself I picked up on early on, is like, I need to develop my physique into a competitive physique and symmetry. Because I get complimented on my symmetry, because from early on, I've realized that I need to make sure my physique is to be honest, I don't have a standout body part, do I? Everything kind of flows as per se. So,
but that's a good place to be.
Right. And that's where I feel like it's not until I really get on stage that my physique stands out more, because I don't have a glaring weakness as per se. And that's because from early on, I realized that I need to develop my physique for that kind of competitive look.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just another thing that I think is I don't know if everyone concentrates on that. I might be speaking out of turn, I don't know. But
well, when it comes down to like, you need to bring up your legs or bring up a specific body part, the thing that people forget is like, if I have to really hard focus on something as big as my back or my legs, like, you're going to have to bring some other stuff down as far as how hard you're training it in order to be able to recover it. So like, I think that's another big issue too. Is people
say that because that was the conversation me and Ben had, because he was like, your legs have developed at a rate in the last year that is taking all the recovery. every time I'm recovering and eating that food, my legs are just taking it all.
Yep.
So it makes sense, right? So when I'm doing back, my back is not getting the nutrition and the recovery that is needed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, let's scale back on the legs a little bit to create that recovery and nutrition drive for the back. If that makes sense. I'm trying to.
No, it definitely makes sense.
Myself right, but
yeah,
it makes total sense, right?
We only have so much room. We only have so much recovery capacity. And if you're trying to redline everything while trying to focus on one area of your body, it's just not going to work. So like, you got to put some stuff that like, you can't try to bring up everything at once. You know, you can, if you got your back and your shoulders need to come up, cool, you can combine those together. But if like both your back and your legs need to come up, you're probably going to have a phase of like, all right, I'm going to focus on my back right now, and then I'm going to focus on my legs after, and go from there, you know.
Lewis didn't train legs for 2 years or whatever it was to bring up other body parts, right? So
it happens sometimes.
Again, that goes back to sometimes in bodybuilding we need to do what we got to do, not what we want to do.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Exactly. Well, dude, we're at the we're over the hour now, so we'll start to wrap up here. But where can people find you for coaching? Just Instagram. Where can they find you, man?
Yeah, so coaching is either me or Ben. He's Squat Like Chow Instagram. I'm Carlos Philbrick, the Brutal Brit. Or you can email at brutalmuscle.gmail, I believe. Let me double check just to get this right.
I think I have it. Well, that's not the right one.
brutalmuscle1@gmail.com.
There you go. Perfect.
For inquiries, yeah. Appreciate that. But
yeah, dude.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you coming on, man. It's a good conversation. I always love when you're in town, dude. We always have some good chats and whatnot when you're here.
It's been fun, man. I enjoy it. We've developed a friendship over the last couple of years, so
yeah,
it's been nice. And I always enjoy seeing yourself and
dude, it's been cool as fuck to see you come up this year. So I'm excited to see like what you guys end up doing from here. It seems like you got some like wind under your sails now, you know.
Yeah, a little bit. Like I said, like this year for me was the confirmation that I needed. And you know me, I'm not a cocky guy. I'm not someone that I just don't have them bones of like, I'm the fucking man. I'm just not that person. So the confirmation of these shows just give me a little, oh yeah, hoorah.
Yeah, next year's gonna be something. If you've got that kind of feeling right now, next year's gonna be something.
Yeah. So me and Ben looked each other in the eyes and we were like, okay, you can turn the dial up. There's another notch this can go.
Yeah, let's turn it up a little bit. Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Well, for anybody who is still listening at this point, be sure to do the YouTube thing, like, subscribe, share it with your friends, leave a comment down below, and we'll see you on the next one. Appreciate you, Carl.
Thank you, mate.